I'm Jim Toms. The courthouse we're in here today was built immediately behind the first 1846 courthouse, which was then demolished. This building was designed by Richard Sharp Smith, who was the supervising architect of Biltmore House and Biltmore Village. There are 3 courthouses in western North Carolina by this pattern, all designed by Richard Sharp Smith. One is still used as a courthouse in Madison County, in the small town of Marshall, down on the French Broad River next to the Tennessee border. The Jackson County Courthouse is now the public library of that county in Silva. This courthouse, of course, served as the Henderson County Courthouse from its opening in 1905 until it was replaced by the present courthouse down 2 blocks away. The Madison County Courthouse is not quite as large as this one and not quite as elegant in its interiors. For example, the bench for the judge, which is now still in the former courtroom, that's the county commissioner's room, in this building is built of mahogany, as is the chair rail. In Madison County, it's built of beautiful quarter solid oak, which of course is a much less expensive material. Still, the design elements are the same, the Palladian windows and the other beautiful touches that the architect brought to the project. I have a direct family heritage tied to this courthouse. My great-grandfather, Marion Columbus Toms, served on the advisory committee for the building. My grandfather, Charles French Toms, on the planning committee, and in addition, he was the county attorney as the building was built and occupied. A further interesting family relationship comes from the presence of G.S. Jones, a Baptist minister who was the pastor of the Baptist church here in Hendersonville, all during the years of the Civil War. Uncle G.S., as we called him, was married to the sister of my grandfather's mother, that is, the wife of my great-grandfather. They met after the Civil War when my great-grandfather came here, and she came to visit her sister, who was married to the pastor of the Baptist church. So you had there the daughter of a Unionist sympathizer from Wilmington marry a Confederate captain, and they continued on in this community together. Uncle G.S. Gave the opening prayer and message when this building was dedicated as the courthouse. 3 generations of my family were privileged to try court cases here during the entire lifespan of the building as our courthouse. Now, in 2008, it is superbly restored and serves as both the county commission headquarters and also the History Heritage Museum, of which I am so proud to be a part. On the 3rd floor, where we're located, we have some special architectural details that are shown, especially in the hidden room, which I am now moving into. This room was unknown until the restoration. It had simply been walled off. And in the restoration, the interior was left as we found it, to show the construction detail of this very interesting building. You can see the lath and plaster construction of the time, the way the beams are fixed together, and it's really a beautiful thing to see. I'm standing by the desk of Judge C.M. Pace, who was the long-seated clerk of Superior Court. This desk was saved because in my early years after my naval service here, I saw one day in the Times News a small ad that it was being auctioned off. And so I was able to buy it to save it from preservation. This desk, as I grew up, was situated immediately backed up to the judge's bench in the courtroom and was occupied by the clerk of court or the deputy clerk of court who was keeping the minutes for court sessions. It was replaced in an earlier remodeling by a standard anonymous metal desk and suddenly became surplus property. Much later, after this museum opened, Carolyn Justice, our chairperson, was able to find a photograph of Judge Pace, and he is seated at this identical desk. And she bought the picture, and so now we know it was Judge Pace's desk. And you can see from the detail in the picture that the desk was situated on the far southeast corner of the first floor. You can see that by the windows, and that obviously was Judge Pace's private office. And it was part of the suite of offices that were occupied by the Clerk of Superior Court and all of his deputies up until this building ceased being the courthouse. So it's interesting to have some of these artifacts come back to this museum that were in the building from its first occupation. We have also here some specific tools that were still in the custody of the Clerk of Superior Court that are no longer used for their original purposes, but have been placed here as they would have been in the era of Judge Pace. On the opposite wall is a window from the original jail that preceded this building, and we've got it set up so that young people and other visitors who want to be photographed behind the bars can be so memorialized, and it's a very interesting experience for them and a nice souvenir for them to take with them. Further down in this floor we have a number of other artifacts from the history of the town that have been donated to us. It is interesting that William F. Edwards, father of the longtime mayor of Hendersonville, who was the contractor for this building, completed the construction of the entire building, including providing its furnishings, for a fixed price of $35,000. When the building was so superbly restored, and the annexing building that provided an elevator, HVAC, and all the modern amenities needed to support it, when that work was done, the price tag for the restoration was almost $6 million to restore the original $35,000. We hope you enjoy your virtual tour of the very historic courthouse.